the Exchange Place podcast, y'all. Hey, y'all. Look who I got in the building. I feel like this is my bring my faves back from season 1.
Yes.
Yes. We got Brenda Phillips in the building.
Hi, guys.
AKA B.
Big B.
Big B. Big B from 440. Do you remember that? You don't remember that movie? I was going to say you might be a little bit too young for that movie. We'll talk about that after the show. But welcome back to the show, girl.
Thanks, babe. I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy to see you.
This has been like one of my favorite podcasting interview things.
Interview thingies.
Yeah.
You were one of my favorite guests.
Was I?
Absolutely. I think that, first of all, let me just tell you, your actual episode was one of the ones that actually, as Amber would say, went viral, but I think almost 5,000 people watched that interview.
That's dope. Let's get that 5,000 to 20,000, y'all. What we waiting for?
That's what I'm talking
You
about.
know what I'm saying? That's dope. What was the title? I remember the title. The title was Don't Suffer in Silence. Don't Suffer in Silence, y'all. Go check out that episode if you haven't.
If you haven't. It's a deep episode.
Yeah, you were pulling me that day.
And B dropped some poetry on us that time.
A little bit.
And a little something. It blessed me. I actually go back when I'm feeling kind of, and I love to hear that poem. But we ain't going to talk about poetry today.
Right.
But we are going to have an Asking for Friends
Listen,
segment.
we got a lot to talk about.
I know, because I feel like these are my catch-up sessions of kind of where I am. And I think on the last episode I had Amber and my sister and we're talking about just kind of where I've been this year, right? It's been a really weird year for me.
Okay.
And we can talk about yours.
Right.
It's been we're April?
We are in April.
We're in spring. Hey, spring.
Hey, spring. Favorite time of the year.
Yeah, but it's been a weird place because I feel like, and I love to talk about, this is a very transparent and vulnerable place, and that's just who I am. But I think there's always a misconception or a perception of when you're doing whatever that thing or your why is in entrepreneurship, what that looks like.
Your purpose, your love, your
passion.
passion.
Your passion, your purpose. People call it different things. But I always say there's a back end of the blessing. And I've been feeling the back end of my blessing, which is the podcast. And it's just been a tough year for me, if I'm honest. And I know outside looking in.
Yep.
It may not look that way, but I've been having some struggles, if I'm honest, and just, continuation. And I think that's something people don't talk about in entrepreneurship, of just like wanting to keep going.
Keep going. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's really difficult. Like, I've been in entrepreneurship for 9 years, and honestly, I'm mind blown kind of just saying that, because it's really been 9 years. And I could
know
just.
It was 9 years.
Thank you. It'll be 9 years in July, but 9 years.
9 years.
I started my nonprofit 9 years ago. And I never foreseen entrepreneurship. Like, I think I tell people all the time, it's something that I was given. It wasn't, like, it chose me.
It chose you.
It literally, like, when I tell people, entrepreneurship chose me. I didn't choose it. It's been a blessing, don't get me wrong. Like, I think that God has provided for me more than what I ever thought that I could even foresee myself doing. I always tell people there's 2 types of people, right? So you might know some of these people. You have these people who like plan out their life, and literally their life goes according to plan. Like, for my best friend, I always use her as an example. Shout out author Janae. But literally, she went to school for this. That's what she became. She's a therapist. She has her own private practice. She said she was going to get married by this age, have a kid by this age, save this money by this. Like, everything that literally how she has planned.
My sister's like that. Similar.
Literally. Yeah. But then there are people like this girl right here.
And me. Yay! Because none of that has happened.
When I say, I was like, yeah, my plan is like da. And God was like, skirt. Let me show you what's really about to go down. And sometimes that's just not easy. It could be frustrating to navigate your way through that. So I could understand and though, right, like you said, we get to do some passion work, we get to do what we love. And though I'm very fortunate to do what I love, and I think that maybe you could relate to this, you still sometimes need a moment away from it, right? You still need to, because you want to quit.
Yeah, I have moments of that, and I don't think people normally say that. I have moments where I'm like, and you said something I just want to repeat, like, I think that I didn't necessarily go chase it. I don't even know that I knew what podcasting was.
That's real.
It was literally something that God gave me that I didn't understand, down to the name of the place. Like, people were like, the exchange place. I was like,
I love it.
I was like, yeah.
Because everything is an exchange.
It made sense later, but I didn't understand it. But no matter, it took me 3 years to have this, though it's 2018. Almost 4 years ago that, God was like, okay, this is what it is. I had a hole, which I still have this cardboard that I could this is what this is going to look like. But in the moments that I want to put it down, it just keeps calling me. You know what I mean? Because
you
I know
can't
it's
get
not
away
about
from what
me.
your calling is. And I've had multiple moments of that. So, I have a nonprofit for kids. Then on top of that, I have a speaking business where I develop curriculums and programs and workshops and presentations.
Amazing.
Thank you. However you want to format it or call it for schools. I speak everywhere, like in schools and stuff like that. Youth. I'm a youth development specialist. Yes. I love my babies. I love kids.
Your kids. Yeah.
And then I have my clothing brand. And hey, be inspired. Yes, go check it out. BeInspiredCollections.com. But shameless plug. But and I have, let's be honest, like I have a part-time / per diem assistant, right? Yeah. So I do all of these things, and it's a constant struggle because, one, you don't have the necessary help where you feel as though you should have that team. I think that a team is important, y'all, and I pray God, please bless me with these people, God. Yeah. And then having a team is just so imperative, you know what I mean? But you have to keep going. But let's even talk about when we talk about just entrepreneurship, business, any type of business, nonprofit, podcast, anything, even the back end of business, right? Here's the glamorized stuff, right? Yeah. But let's talk about, even when it comes to businesses, is accounting and marketing and promotion, and then how you gravitate that audience, you pull people into believing in what it is that you do, because you have this passion of believing in yourself. Yeah. You know what I mean? That sometimes it's you'll believe in it, and then if you may not get that response right then and there, how do you keep going? Yeah. How do you keep going?
So how do you keep going? Because you've been doing this, which again, I'm a serial entrepreneur in a different realm of things. Before I did event planning, I love decor, I have a clothing brand, She Prays, you know what I mean? I've always kind of gone in and out, but I don't think I've ever, not even think, I 100% know I have yet to be as consistent as I am with the podcast. And though I know that all of those other things connect, because I do see them connecting to what I do right now, I know this is, and maybe this is just the season for the podcast, because I can't foresee the future, but I know I'm in the right space.
So I think that for me, I always tell people, so starting with my nonprofit, We Care has been the most consistent relationship I've ever been in. So I've had my nonprofit for 9 years, and my purpose for We Care has always been to give back and to expose our youth, right? So with We Care, when Miss We Care was birthed, which is basically my speaking business, they literally go hand in hand, because now what I was doing in the community, I'm now just doing in schools, and I get contracts for them. And then when school shut down during COVID and I started Be Inspired, which just made sense. It was what I was known for, which was inspiring people and giving people hope and courage and love. But in those moments of wanting to quit, literally, I remember why I started. Like, I remember having We Care and the kids that I was working with saying to me, Miss Brenda, I know that you going to end up speaking in schools. I know that you going to do this. And like literally they spoke those things into me because those were things that I didn't even see. I had a male best friend that he literally, when he met me, he was like, I could see you speaking in schools. And I was just like, yeah, right. You know what I mean? So I always say to people like, yeah, it's imperative to believe in yourself and that is very important. Mm-hmm. But it's also important for you to surround yourself with the right people so that when you have those moments of struggle and doubt, that they're speaking life back into you because people always see you sometimes before you see you. Yeah. And that's very, very important to have those people surrounded, you know. And I think that's one way that I keep going because I feel like I have these people watching. Like some of my kids are like graduating college now. Wow. And we, you know, we still keep up with each other. They check in with me, or you know, they're on my Instagram and social media, and they're like, "Wow, Miss Brenda, like you're doing it." Da 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 da. And I'm like, but they remember when I started here. I was about to say they never had enforced a lot of them. I'm a representation of. They never had this type of representation of like entrepreneurship or someone actually following their dreams, right? Because some of them, one, they may come from a background where those options of even college wasn't even, you know, given to them, or entrepreneurship is not even a thing for them. Gotcha. Entrepreneurship wasn't a thing for me either, right? Yeah. I just made different choices. So I just have to remember I have people watching and my purpose is bigger than me. Because I'm telling you, last week, like I go back to even last week, I wanted to quit my clothing brand. I really, like, I had a conversation with one of my friends. I was just like, I'm really about to give up. But then I was just like, but it's so much bigger than you. Like, you really have something. You really have something. And this is not nothing, like, against anybody else's clothing brand or anything like that. But it's like, in my core, in my heart, I know I really have something because when people respond to it, it's with a, like, I love putting this stuff on. It has a message to it. But not only does it have a message to it, it's fly, like, it's cute. I could dress it up. I could do this. Like, it really, I know that I really have something. You know what I mean? So it's, once again, I know people have heard it, and I know as cliche as it sounds, but it really is remembering that why. Why. And that's one of the ways I keep going. And consistency is, it's hard.
Say it again.
Consistency is hard.
Yeah, because I think people always say the key is being consistent, right? And I agree with that.
It is.
It 100% is. But on some days, consistency is a hard thing. Like I promised myself I wouldn't, like I did the first season of the podcast, right? I took a break just because.
Very successful. You need a break.
Yeah,
you need a break.
And I took a break mainly because I was like, I foresaw it, but I didn't know it was going to happen like that. When I started the podcast, I was like, look, I'm going to do the podcast twice a month, right? Because I knew I needed to start it, right? Mm-hmm. And then I think the first episode, people are like, oh my God, when's the next episode? And I felt the pressure of that. So I was like, here's my thing, because I'm a planner. And I was like, let me take a break so I could restructure how I utilize my time to even record. Do you know what I mean? So I can make it make sense where I could take a break, but I could have enough episodes in the back to be able to take a break and not feel pressured to be like, every week I have to record. Every week I was like, I don't want that pressure of that. And I still work a full-time job, right? And I'm a mom and all the other responsibilities that I had and have. So one of the things that I had to do in this, like I said, like feeling like, do I need to stop the podcast or take a break from the podcast, like you said, was sometimes I be doing too much because I feel like I'm not doing enough.
That is such... Honestly, we should just base this whole episode off of that. Let me tell y'all, it's crazy to have that feeling like you're not doing enough, right? I have to go back through my phone and videos to remind myself of what I've done. Yeah.
Same here.
That feeling, and this is to all the entrepreneurs out there, like, just understand, do what you can. Yeah. Do what you can. Day by day, one foot in front of the other, one step. If you're putting one foot in front of the other, if you're doing something that's towards that goal or towards that vision or towards that dream, you're still doing something, right? And let me use this as an example. So, something that people may or may not know about me, people who are close to me may know, is that I actually have always struggled with being in front of the camera. But the work that I do forces me to have to be in front of the camera.
We had
the
this
gift that God has given me, literally, there is nothing else. I always have to be in front of some type of camera and some type of audience. I hate the focus being on me, right? So I had to get over that fear. I had to get over that fear of, one, the focus being all on me, which is to this day, it's a struggle. So we're talking about things getting to fruition. I want to keep it there. So 5 years ago, before I'm even where I'm at right now, literally in my phone 5 years ago, because I'm also known as a poet and a performer and a speaker, right? 5 years ago, I remember I was like, okay, Brenda, you got to face your fears. And I was like, you're going to have a one-woman show, and you're going to call it Pages of Your Diary, and you're going to force yourself to beat the focus, right? Because when I first started speaking and performing, mind you, I literally took like 2 years off. I didn't speak, I didn't perform, because when first time I ever spoke and performed, 2 newspapers reached out to me, and at that time it wasn't podcasting. It was just like people who did interviews like on YouTube and stuff. And someone had reached out to me to interview. I literally didn't answer phone calls, nothing. If you reached out to me to talk, I ain't do it. I never had a photo shoot, nothing like that. I didn't do it. I did not want to be in front of the camera. Mind you, I wrote this plan, this vision of this event that literally puts the focus on me 5 years ago. We're 5 years later. That event is literally coming to life right now. October 15th. But it's literally coming to life right now. And when I tell you, it's so crazy how you could plan something 5 years ago or so long ago, and in that time, I thought I was ready to do it. But I wasn't even ready to do it. So now I'm finally getting comfortable in the space and the gifts that God gave us, because let's be clear, a lot of us aren't living up to our fullest capacity when it comes to our dreams and aspirations. So really we're letting down our gifts, right? We're letting down ourselves, and we're not pleasing God in this sense. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people put their dreams and their gifts on the back burner when they should be shining in them. And you will know what your dream and your gift is, because that is the thing that makes you shine. That is your magic. And I had to understand, like, though I don't like performing, which people don't even really know, I don't even like performing. And I didn't like performing. And anybody that's ever knew me personally from when I first started, I couldn't perform without snotting and crying, right? I couldn't speak in front of a crowd without crying and snotting. For anybody that's been following me for the past 10 years, they would know. But now, what I understood, the gift that I actually have, the impact that I actually have, is not about me. It's not about me. And I think that that's what I live my life as, is like, if I left this earth today or tomorrow, one, what is the impact that I'm leaving? What is it? Am I changing somebody else's life? Like, and what are people going to say about me? If I left this earth today or tomorrow, am I proud of the things that I've done? Am I proud of even things that I do on my self-love time, right? Like, am I proud of it? So it's just like this entrepreneurship journey, even when it comes to entrepreneurship, it is a struggle, but it's a beautiful, it has been such a beautiful struggle for me that I would not change it for the world, because let's be clear, I'm still going to have moments of when I want to quit.
Yeah.
I'm still,
okay.
I'm stressed out right now, y'all.
Yeah. Ciao.
I'm going to have moments of when I want to give up, but something that I've said to anybody that's even in the role of becoming an entrepreneur, another thing that has helped me when you said, like, how do you keep going?
Yeah.
If I was to quit this, right, I always say to myself, Brenda, if you was to stop doing this today or tomorrow, close your eyes. What else do you see yourself doing?
What would you be doing?
I don't see anything else.
Yeah.
And I've done that multiple times, because guess what? Even when I was fighting it, I've always seen myself on stages speaking. Even when I didn't feel like I wanted to do it, I would have dreams about it. I would just have like literally a vision. There's a picture I have in my phone that I literally seen before I seen it in my head.
You seen it before you saw it.
And it's the wildest thing to me.
And I'll share this with you. One of my reminders is that let me see what I've already seen. You just blessed me first and foremost, and I'm trying to keep you know y'all. I'm a crier. I'm a crier. But you just blessed me, and you humanized the feelings that I have. I'm not, which I don't know that people know this because I now have a podcast, so people probably know that. But I've always felt better one-on-one. So even starting the podcast, part of the holdup from almost 4 years ago was I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to commit to something by myself. I wanted other people to come with me. Right? And as much as I have people come sit in the seats and come sit around the table, at the end of the day, if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, none of this is possible, right? And I know that God structured it that way and allowed me to see it then, but didn't give it to me until I got to a place that I was like, with or without anybody, I'm gonna figure out how to make this work. Because this is the most uncomfortable seat. I don't like cameras either, right? My thing used to always be, I do better behind the scenes.
I remember that. Did you do a lot of video? You used to do a lot of video editing. And it's social media. Y'all, her social, like just her framing, bomb. If I could afford her, I'll hire her.
Look, we can work that out down the line. But like, and I think I always struggled with, sort of like in the sense of you saying you having all these, it's almost God giving you so many different areas that you touch. I always struggled with, like, I feel more comfortable behind the scenes. I probably can do in front of the camera, but it was never my desire. And I my pastor, God rest his soul, years ago told me, like, you can't hide anymore. And I don't know why that one, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know how people say that one thing to you that always, like, throughout your life, you kind of remember, it's like, you can't hide anymore. And me getting behind here, speaking in public, I hate public speaking. I love what we did driving here, right? Like, oh yeah, I love that. That's my thing. I used to always be like, nah, I want to do one-on-one type stuff. I want to be in the therapy.
These conversations should be recorded.
Exactly, but I would have never said, hey, put me in front of a camera and do that, because I had self-consciously, like, I'm not really set up like that. Or
I don't look, same with me. Now I just don't care. Y'all even look
I don't
like
care. They didn't see me a little bit of everywhere. You see me with a cap on. It's like, because I have literally got to that point that I understand my why. I understand that this is not about me. I might not always understand who it's for, right? Because for podcasting, it's not like performing necessarily. Right. There's not necessarily a level of applause or whatever. But there's something way deep in there. I make this for the me's of the world, the people, like we talk about, that suffer in silence, the people who think these things but may never talk about them. You know what I mean? And even our conversation that we're having now, for the entrepreneurs who have thought about quitting and what that looks like. But that thing, like, it's different when your dream gets a hold or your purpose gets a hold of you.
Right. So let me even just, I want to touch on a couple of things. But like, literally, I have a friend, right? Mm-hmm. I just got off the phone with her this morning, and she is an excellent painter. When I tell you, she is gifted to she's just so gifted. I'm talking about even when it comes to decor. And I always used to be like, I'm talking about even when painting your house, like from painting your house to painting a portrait, a picture, or anything, a cart, like whatever. Yeah. She's always been super gifted. But over the years, I watched her tap in and out of it. And I used to say, Dom, you need to do this full time. I don't want to do it full time. I don't want it to feel like work. I don't want it to feel like work. It's just something that I like to do. I don't want it to feel like work. I'm like, no, this is something that you need to do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So then during the pandemic, it's crazy how God works. During the pandemic, like people losing their jobs, things started to shift in her life. So she started to paint. She would post certain things, maybe things that she did in her kid's room or a picture or something like that. guess what's happening now? Now people knew her before from painting, but she stopped, right?
Yeah.
So if you stop something, you're not consistent with it, people don't see it no more, they fall back.
Yeah.
So now she's doing it again, people are starting to reach out, right? Starting to reach out. So literally now, like basically full time, without her wanting to, right? It's not her decision. And it's so funny, I told her that sometimes it's really not your decision.
Yeah.
Like it just is what it is. What does she do right now? She literally paints full time. I have to do estimate today. I have to go to this person's house to do an estimate. Oh, somebody wants an estimate for a painting. So literally, sometimes really our gifts are not our choice. Like you said, you literally cannot get away from it. So whatever you guys are running from, stop running from it because it's going to catch you. So it's so funny. Me and her have been friends like 10 years now. I'll always say this to her. And no, she would tap in and out of it. But look, it caught her. And it don't, and she's not complaining about it because her whole thing before was, I don't want it to feel like work. I just do it because I enjoy it. I don't want it to feel like work. I'm like, no, you're too good at this. Like, I'm telling you, you need to do. I'm like, girl, you would kill it. You would make so much money. Like, why would you even want to be at a 9 to 5? Like, and I'm not like wasn't encouraging her to quit her job or nothing like that. I seen it before she's seen it once again, which is why it's important to have people around you that see you before you see you, right? So it amazes me. Like literally, I'm on my way here talking to her, and she's on her way to a job. You know what I mean? And she got up in New York. She got this freaking contract, and she painted this guy's penthouse. Gorgeous. I'm talking about high ceilings, and she created this room with clouds on. Like when I tell y'all she's gifted,
I'm working on something.
She's gifted, right? She's just one of those people. Like I could never do what she does, But this is what I mean. And she's like I did so good with this penthouse. Da 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 da. I'm like, girl, I've been telling you. What you waiting for?
What you thought?
What you thought? You know what I'm saying? So no, we can't run from our gifts, and our gifts will make us uncomfortable, which is why
they always do.
Being in front of and being in front of cameras are uncomfortable for me, but it's something that I have to face. Creating this show, which is not just my show. I do have a partner, but still the focus is going to be on literally just me and her. That show. This is something I've never done. I've always been comfortable playing it safe. Like, I just curate events for my nonprofit, my community day. Sleepover for kids. I'm doing a college tour for kids. Because once again, I might be the one doing it, but I'm not the core focus.
Yep.
Now I have to, like, even my clothing brand, like, clothes is cool. Brenda creates it, but I'm not the core focus. I barely model myself. Like, I post pictures on Instagram with my stuff on.
You be cute with your stuff.
Oh, thank you. But I'm saying, like, even like with modeling, like, you know what I mean? Like, I always get other people, which is like, my brand is me, right? Like, doing curriculums and programs and workshops, and this is something else. Sorry, I know I'm talking a lot, but
we're in a podcast. That's what we supposed to do.
But like, something I always struggle with too is that in front of kids, I've always been super comfortable. Put 1,000 kids in front of me. I'm going to inspire them. I'm going to encourage them. I'm going to motivate them. Something else I've had to get super comfortable with is understanding my space where my peers are. Like, I shine just as bright with my peers just as much as I do with kids, but that was always an insecurity of mine because I just felt like kids, I was able to easily encourage and motivate them. But now, like, I just booked, I got... keynote speaker for a women's conference.
When is that?
That's in August.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the one I'm trying to come to, too.
Yeah, girl, I got so much going on. I can't even keep up with my calendar. It's sad. But yeah, so entrepreneurship is a crazy world, and especially for someone like me and somebody like you, and we touched on this before, which we could kind of go into is, entrepreneurship and then the misconception and like the perception of social media. Social media is...
I have a love-hate relationship with social media.
Talk about it.
I'm just like... I mean, I love the reach of social media.
Right.
The ability to... whatever your thing is, I love the ability to be able to be able to upload one video and have the possibility to touch the world, right? So I love the reach. I hate that people see social media as real life, and when that's a highlight reel of what the person behind their social media has decided to share. And though it may be their reality, and we talked about this, it is not the fullness of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not the fullness. You don't get to see the fullness of my life. You do get me because
this is me.
I am. We just, again, well, you know me in real life, right? So we just drove here. We had a conversation that not was similar to this, but just when we get together, that's what we do.
That's what we do.
That's what we do, right? So it is 100% me. However, it is not the full totality of what it takes to be me.
Right.
And I think, and I said this on the other show, I think there's a glamorous, only give you highlight reel portion of that people get. They may get a little bit more from me if they watch the show because I'm just, you know what I mean? Not that I put all my business out there, but I'm very comfortable in where I am, and I'm okay with that because I know this space is a temporary space and I'm still becoming. So whatever I struggle with, I don't look at it like, oh, let me hide this. Though I do have personal things that I probably would not talk about on the show, would not post online. But you said something, and I want you to speak to that about kind of the perception, if it's reality or whose reality and what portion of that is reality. Right. When you look at social media from a business perspective or entrepreneur perspective.
So even for me, like, I struggle because I do have a love-hate relationship with social media because I know what I post and I know what people see and I know how people see me as. And no, I may not like have like 1 million followers or anything like that, but I get DMs all the time like, you inspire me, thank you for doing what it is that you do, and you're, you know, like basically like I get so many messages like that. And I think that's great. Like that's, you know, I do what I do to impact and inspire. However, like you said, people only get a piece of you, right? And for me, because of the work that I do, it literally requires me to kind of continue to post, to influence and inspire these people because this is the life that I live. And granted, like what I post is truly who I am. Yeah. Like it's truly who I am. Like I love to travel or go to different events and I take pictures and you know what I mean? Hiking or whatever. Like I love to ride my bike. That's, you know, I speak at schools. You know, like it's truly me. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I may post something that has like a little vulnerable caption or whatever. But the fact of the matter is that people don't understand the sacrifices that I have made to achieve the successes that I have gotten. Yeah. And I say successes because I don't even feel like I have reached even where God has to take me. Mm-hmm. And what's so crazy, like having to offer myself some grace, feeling like I haven't even done enough, right? Mm. But in all actuality and reality, I've done so much and I do have a lot of success. But though this is what people have seen, they don't see that, you know what? Like me and you talked about this a little bit. Like at the end of the day, I've never done anything for show. I could go out right now and I could get myself a Jeep because that is my dream car. I want a Jeep for my 35th birthday, right? Yeah. I could go out and do it. I have decent savings. I have a great credit score. I could go do it. But rationally, like, does that really make sense? Like, we're in inflation. You know what I mean? Like, a couple years ago, what a Jeep cost, because we're in inflation, is literally like an additional $7,000 to $10,000. Like, it's insane. It actually makes me sick to my stomach. Yeah. Will it actually be reality for me? And would I be doing it more so now? A couple years ago, if it was the price that is the price, like I be doing it because I want to do it and I feel comfortable doing it. But it's just like, Brenda, that really doesn't make sense right now when you're investing in X, Y, and Z. So guess what? I'm going to keep driving my Kia till the wheels fall off. Though this is what I want, I know that time is going to come for me to actually get it. I could go do it, but that's a sacrifice I'm making, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people see like, oh, she travels, she do this, she do that. Like, oh, she dresses nice or whatever the case may be. Like, I always tell people, I keep myself on a very strict budget. I could go out and get red bottoms if I wanted to, but I don't do anything for show. And that's something else that I need people to understand and relate to. Like, I don't sit here and be flashy for show. I don't do anything for show. I really am who I am, but, like, I'm not going to sit there and spend my money on that. And, like, another thing is people probably think I could go get a condo, right? A high-rise if I really wanted to right now. I could afford that, but it's only me, right? I'm a minimalist. It's only me. And I could sit here and I currently have a 1-bedroom. The kitchen, the dinette area is my office space. My living room is literally my studio. Listen, I ain't doing this for nobody else but me. Nobody else but me. So instead of going to go get an apartment that's going to cost me $2,000, $2,500, just to say that I could do it and be fit. I'm not that person. I could do it, but I could also honestly get this apartment for $900. It's just me, and I could create this space as a studio. I could do this. These are the sacrifices that I'm making to get to my greater successes, but not everybody is willing to do that because they focus on social media. Like, who are you? Who are you? Like, I have to stay true to myself. So though there are things that I could afford to do, I make the conscious decision not to, because that same money I spend on this to go do this, I could reinvest and put it here.
Yeah.
And that's just a choice for me. And I feel like the generation before us, which they're so driven by social media, and even our generation, I feel like a lot of people do things for show. I've never done anything for show. Yeah. I simply do things to impact people. I haven't disclosed like that much, like, like the financial aspect of my life, but people probably would never know that about me. Like, what? She live in a 1-bedroom. Her office space is her dining. Yeah, because that's the sacrifice that I'm making. I get to travel, but guess what? If I was paying that $2,000 rent, $1,800 rent, would I be able to really afford the trip? Like, I wouldn't be able to afford it. I'm still living a lifestyle of luxury that makes sense for me, but not for what other people had or what other people think, perceive or think that how I should live, So it's really staying true to who you are. And when God blesses me, because I always tell God, you bless me financially, the more you bless me, the more I could bless other people, right? But even when God really does bless me, am I probably going to go get red bottoms? No.
So that's funny. So something funny, my son always talks about, he day trades and all that. He's like, Mom, I'm going to get, what is it, a Birkin? The Birkin bag or whatever. I was like, don't give me a Birkin bag, because I'm definitely taking it and I'm returning it and getting them coins, because, and people say be careful about saying this, but I think I view this different, and you said it, is that what I get, I think I'm more sometimes bothered by not having more to be able to help more people.
Exactly.
More so for it to be, of course, money's a tool. So I think sometimes we have a different perception of it. Like, it's a tool and I want to use it as such. I do not believe, and I hope none of our listeners who are listening believe, money is not going to bring you happiness if you think it's not giving you peace. It's not going to change. You can change everything about you on the outside, which are things that you can actually purchase, right? What goes on the inside, like my daddy used to say, you could be ugly to the bone. And I finally understand what that means. You can have everything dressed up, right? In whatever red bottoms, Birkin bags and everything. But ultimately, when you go home, how do you feel about you? Because there are a lot of people who have a lot of stuff, but stuff can't give you peace. It can't give you happiness. You can't buy those things, right? So I always say to everyone, of course I like nice things.
Absolutely.
I absolutely
Like, I ain't gonna lie, y'all, I'm gonna get me a bust down. You feel me? I like jewelry, but once again, everybody has their vice.
Yeah. And everybody priority-wise, and for those people who value a Birkin bag or red bottoms,
it's nothing against them.
It's nothing against them.
Yeah.
I'm just not them.
Right.
Or that's not my thing. And I want to be clear about that, because it's nothing wrong with wanting those things.
Absolutely not.
For me, and you said this earlier, I think about more not of what I'm leaving people tangibly, but what I left people with.
Right.
And I'm always, whether that's a little spooky or whatever, I'm always thinking I had this project in one of my mentorship classes to write your obituary. Whew. Heavy. And I live life. It was very heavy. It's about to make me cry. Here I go again, right? To sit and write your obituary is already it's a little spooky and freaky, but it helped me structure what my goals were. Because it's like, not what somebody else would say about me, but what would I want other people to write in my obituary. I remember writing my dad's obituary. So like, what would I want if you am Tamara, if everybody sat around and said, what are we about to say about this person that we knew as Deborah of Faith, right? Like, what would I want people to say? And that kind of drives, it helps you actually structure. It's a weird thing, y'all. I ain't telling you to practice it, but I'm telling you, it helped me structure how I want to live. Because it's like, what do I want to say when I'm no longer here? And I want to make sure that what I leave here is something that is transferable. And I'm not talking about money, but that's transferable. Like I said, like I just told you, my dad said ugly to the bone. That's something that's transferable. You know what I mean? Like those things that money can't buy and generationally will always be passed down.
Absolutely. And I ain't saying, now y'all, money is important, okay? We ain't saying that.
No, we ain't saying that.
money is
Take money to do everything.
Money is important. Money management is important. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to glorify things, because we all like nice things. We all deserve a life of luxury. Let me be clear. We all deserve a life of luxury. We all deserve a life of whatever it is that our desires are on a financial level, right? And our reasoning may be very, very different. So even for me, I've never come from a place of like where anyone in my family has had like a sustainable business. I come from a generational trauma, y'all, and I'm talking about, and we may have discussed this before, but I'm talking about trauma on just a completely different level, you know what I mean? From abuse to poverty. So when y'all see that meme online, like, oh, you know, I'm the one that was chosen to break generational curses, whatever, I really personally feel like I'm that one. And it's been told to me, you know what I'm saying, like, you're the only one in this family who has ever done X, Y, and Z. You're the only one in this family who has done things differently, or whatever the case may be. So maybe for me, right, thinking about the red bottoms and, you know, the Birkin bags and all that other stuff, like you was saying, for me, it's bigger than me. It's not transferable. And like I said, I might get some jewelry, a bust down or something like that, because that, that's more so my thing when God places me in that position. But what I'm saying is, I ain't really out here doing if I really ain't got it. And there's a lot of people out there taking it back to social media when we talk about, is perception really reality? Because people get to play on who they actually pretend to be, which is really hard for social media. And someone like me, yeah, this is really me who I'm showing you. But like you said, I'm giving you glimpses and pieces. But it's because, honestly, it's still a part of the work that I do, is to show people, like, this is what I come from. This is what I do. This is truly at my core who I am. If you ever met me in person, have a relationship with me, I always say, I don't never want to pretend to be anybody else but me. Like, I think that is really scary. And that's why social media is so scary, because people get to really pretend to be somebody else that they're truly not. And it's honestly, it's unfair because this is what other people are comparing. This is why comparison is comparison. You don't know who, if you don't know who that person really is, like, let's just say YouTubers or celebrities and nothing like that. And it's nothing wrong with being inspired by what other people have or whatever the case may be. But once again, even talking about youth, I see kids all the time like, oh, I want to be this, I want to be an influencer, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. And there's nothing wrong with those people, but there's still things that they had to do behind the scenes that you don't even see. Like even creating a reel on a daily basis, or YouTubers. I've seen YouTubers actually talk about how it's literally a job for them to record their life. It's work. Is that something that are you willing to put in that type of work? In the beginning, they didn't always have 1 million followers. So anything that you do is going to take work, but yet you only see the glimpse of what somebody's actual reality is. And that's, and me, you had spoke about it, that's what scares me about the previous generation, because it's still work that goes behind it. Oh, you want to be a rapper, you want to be this, you want to be that. And once again, it's not wrong with being inspired by those things, but there's still work behind the scenes. There's still consistency that these people had to put in order to get to where it is that they are. Are you willing to do that work? Even going back to what I said just about me and my personal journey, like, yeah, y'all, like, what I post is truly who I am, and I don't pretend to be anything that I'm not, but behind the scenes, literally, these are the sacrifices that I'm making to get to this success. And are you willing to make those sacrifices? And these are the things that you have to think about, because I didn't get that 1-bedroom apartment and downsize. I could go, I'm looking to invest in my first property. But had I gotten that rent for $1,900, would I have the money to invest in a property that is going to bring me in additional income? You know, people do things for a show. Yeah. And people have to stop trying to give some people a show, but give them something to watch. Yeah. Don't give people a show.
Give them your life. If you want to share, and I'm not saying share all of your life, but give them the good, bad, and the ugly of what it takes to do what you do. And that's what I like, that's part of my calling in general, is like the show will always be that. It will always be a piece of me. I will sit down with you, I'll sit down with Am or whoever I sit down with, because I'm learning while you're exchanging with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting here like, and you have a level of experience in something that I may be struggling with. You just talked about like YouTube and all of that, like what it takes to podcast. Like so many people are like, you want to be a podcaster. I love it. I'm a podcaster who loves podcaster and podcasts. Mm-hmm. But the reality of what goes behind, not just this, when the camera goes off and you still have to market, you still have to edit, you still have to do whatever you do. And again, everybody's level of that is different. There's a cost. Everything, I tell my kids all the time, everything costs. And you have to choose your hard, and you have to know that there's a cost behind that, even if it's not a financial exchange. Right. It's a cost. It's whether that cost is time, whether that cost is your energy, whether that cost is being consistent in a place where, like, YouTube, I didn't know anything about YouTube like that. I mean, I know what it is, but like, oh, well, put the podcast on YouTube. All right, now I have to figure that out. I have to master that, because that's going to be something that I have to figure out. And even whether I get 2 views or 5,000 views on one,
you have to be okay with it.
Guess what? Next week, it's still got to be an episode that come out.
Regardless. But you have to believe in yourself that much. And I think that getting comfortable with living in our truth. There's still some things that I'm not comfortable with disclosing or talking about yet. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to push myself because I want people to understand, like, this is what really goes on behind the scenes that y'all don't see, even down to the financial aspect, like, Just Hilarious was just in her stuff, or, you know what I'm saying, like, dope, I love her. Yeah. I love her. Jess ain't never answered none of my DMs, you know what I'm saying, like, she's human just like I am. She could think that I got, like, a real motive or something, you know what I'm saying, where I just really think that she's, like, a dope-ass individual, you know what I'm saying, like, people could sit there and be like, oh, she got all these people in her brand, which is cool. I know my know my place and my reasoning for doing certain things, because once again, I always say my words will change the world. I just want to be a part of changing the world by doing what it is that I truly love at my core, but also knowing that I'm walking in the path that God has for me. And that's a hard path to stay on. Mm-hmm. It's a very hard path to stay on.
And people don't talk about that. Mm-mm. People think like, oh, I found my purpose and I found my journey and now things get easier. Nope. And, I haven't been in it as long as you, but I know that there are moments and periods of time that I feel like it gets harder.
It does.
It gets harder in the sense of like, okay, you know it, so you have those moments. But I definitely have moments where I'm just like, you sure, God? You sure?
And let's be honest. Like, sometimes those moments of doubt can literally overcast all the work that you've done.
Yeah.
Like, the moments of doubt would literally...
It's like it erases.
It make me forget that I just had 20 orders the other day. You know what I mean? Like, those moments of doubt literally will steal the joy away from what it is that you actually love to do. That's why it's important for you to be like, reflect on things that you have done and the success that you have had, because it's like, dang, if I did that, I'm capable of doing that again. I'm capable of making it happen again.
And doing more.
Because you got to know where your heart stands. And like, something that our exchange and something I always take away from you is, I'm a heart person. Right? Definitely. I'm a heart person. I do literally everything. And I've said this before because it's really who I am. And if you ever have encountered me, you would know I do everything with genuine intentions. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? As long as I'm doing it, whatever that other person's motive is or intentions is not, I cannot control that. Yeah. I cannot control that. You can't control, I've been having this lesson with my kids, y'all. But I always say, like, you cannot control other people.
Yeah.
It's taken me years to understand this. But you could control you. You could control how you act, how you react, how you allow people to treat you. I don't care how much ugly is in this world. Don't never allow anybody to change the heart that you truly have. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't want my heart to be hardened because somebody decided to do me wrong. That's up to God. And I say this all the time. God spin the block on me every single time. Every single time. And even when I'm not there to see it, because I see it through my blessings. I see it through me still being able to stand here. So even when you're having these doubts and these struggles when it comes to entrepreneurship, you got to remember your why, and you got to remember how blessed you actually are, because sometimes we focus on what we don't have versus what we really do have. Like, we got to start talking more about our blessings and our problems.
Yeah.
We talk about our problems a lot. Let's start talking about our blessings. Yeah. You know what I mean? Very fortunate, very blessed. I could sit here and really complain. There's some things that I don't have, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we get on a deeper level in a deeper time that I really, really want. And I'll be like, Lord,
child,
I don't even know if I like you right now. You ain't even a homie like I thought that you was.
Like, why I gotta wait so long?
But then there are these amazing experiences that I've never... Once again, and this is coming from somebody, when I tell y'all I come from nothing. Like, when Drake says started at the bottom, now I'm here, like, he was talking about me. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that knows me personally know, like, I come from nothing. Like a dirt road, roaches, rats, both of my parents addicted to drugs. I come from nothing. And I focus on, like, wow, I am blessed. I've been able to I travel, I impact, I speak at schools. I got all of these connections. Like, at this point in my life, I've spoken to over 50,000 people and been able to impact them and inspire them through my own personal story. But it takes courage to live in your truth, though.
It does.
It takes letting go of that embarrassment. There's some things I'm still embarrassed about that I don't talk about, but I'm trying to push myself to get over that fear. Yeah. Like, fear will have you doing two things, you know? It could either push you into doing everything that you're supposed to be doing, or it could stop you from doing everything that you're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely.
So...
Fear's a mug. Like, it's one of those things that I think it paralyzes you in some cases. And I know because me and fear definitely 100% had a too close relationship at a portion of my life. And I still get fear. I don't think fear leaves. I think is what you decide to do with it. And for me, I just decided like, okay, yeah, I might be afraid, but I'm gonna do it afraid.
Anyway, I'm gonna do it scared.
Yeah.
You cannot allow fear to be the leader of your life.
It could get in the car, it just can't drive.
It could get in the car, but it can't drive. Like, what they be saying, and I ain't trying to, is whatever your faith is, whatever. Yeah. I be loving me some God. But like, you literally have to have just, if you have this much, a tiny, if you have a pinch of faith, go for it. Because you never know what's on the other side. I never thought ever by me performing and being like, oh, I just want to help kids. Like, literally, that's how I started. This is how entrepreneurship started for me, guys. I've been writing since I was 10. I performed one night, but the only reason why I performed, because God was like, I wanted to do, like, I knew I wanted to start my nonprofit, right? And literally, something was like, all right, well, if you want to start your nonprofit, you got to perform. And I was like, what? Perform? I ain't performing. Yeah, right. But that literally was like the deal, like, between me and God.
If I perform, then I could do that.
Do that, yeah. So I performed, crying, snot, y'all. Oh my God. I'm sure somebody from years ago has it or whatever, because
I'm looking for that video of y'all got it.
There was an article about it, but literally, like, I would have never thought it would have led me to this place. Mm-hmm. So look where fear got me, right? Yeah. Fear got me speaking in schools. Fear has gotten me to a place where I'm paid to do what I love. Yeah. But even in my moments of doubt and struggle and wanting to quit, I close my eyes. Where do I see myself? I don't see myself anywhere else, so I can't quit. This is my life.
That's my takeaway for today. While you were saying that, that's all I was thinking is, like, at this point in my life, when I close my eyes every night that I lay down, I literally can't see anything else.
Like, I
can't see anything.
And that's for everybody out there, because literally, that's how I've been making it. When I want to quit, y'all don't even know. I be in the corner crying, okay? Like, even like today, I had such a long day. I didn't hit up my assistant early enough because she part-time and per diem, y'all. Let's keep that clear. One day he gonna bless me to be full-time. Hire people full-time.
Your dream team coming.
But yes, I was like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed, so stressed. Like, I have a podcast to do. Then I have to, mind you, we're up near New York, guys. And then, I have to go to Philly and do another podcast later. Like, I felt so overwhelmed or whatever. But at the end of the day, I was like, okay, I could get through this day. Obviously, without her, I have to. Yeah. I didn't plan accordingly. But even in my moments of wanting to cry and give up, that's literally what I do. I close my eyes and be like, okay, Brenda, if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing? What can you see yourself doing if you weren't doing this? What can you see yourself doing? If you weren't doing this, what can you see yourself doing? And in a career standpoint, I don't see myself doing anything else. Yeah, I'm not married. I don't have kids. And I believe I can have it all. Yet. But I believe I'm literally one of those people that can have it all, and I will have it all. And God is going to bless me.
He is. He's already blessed you.
Oh, he's already blessed me abundantly.
He's going to continue to bless you.
He is.
I love you for coming through.
I love you for having me. We just be chatting, y'all. Oh, my God. I hope y'all got something out of this today.
I got something about this. Listen, and I love my audience. I love the people that tap in. But I got something out of it before they got something out of it. They're going to see this later, but I got something out of it, and it truly blessed me, because I think that's going to be my go-to. That, I got to use that. I'm going to give it, I always give people credit for where I got it from, but I think that is something that if most people do, it'll push you into the place that you're supposed to be, or keep you in the place that you are.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Seriously. No. I 100%. And I love, you are changing the world with your words, as we all got to view here. But like, I love, you said it a couple of times, so I just want to say this before we sign off, is that you kept on saying that it's the people that you have. And I'm grateful and thankful that in probably I don't say the oddest way that we met, but we met through hiking. And I think I said that on the other show. but that I met somebody who continues to bless me, whether she knows it or not. And I always keep in contact because of that.
Right.
Because there's such an exchange that happens. And even if God lays me on my heart, I'll be like, I can see you the eyes, like, what's up? Because I know and sometimes I come maybe with the intention of like encouraging you, and you give me something. Hopefully I leave you with something.
Absolutely.
This
is an even exchange.
It is an even exchange.
And I love it, and I love you too. Like, and I'm proud of you, you know? Like, I think that anything that anybody chooses to pursue takes courage. I think that it takes courage to stick with it. Especially when you believe in it and you don't feel seen in it.
Yeah.
Being in a place where you don't feel seen and you continue to go. And this is for me to encourage anybody out there, keep going, because everybody has their moment, y'all.
Yep.
There's a lot of people out there that are doing things, but it's that saying, like that 10,000 hours, you know what I'm saying? And it took me 5 years for anyone to acknowledge me. And that's the thing. When I got into entrepreneurship, I never got into it for money. But ain't it funny how God blesses you? Yeah. Ain't it funny how when you genuinely do things from your heart that you'll be blessed in it? So that's why I tell people, do things with intention. Do things with the intention of figuring out how you can impact or change somebody else's world. Because that's the real gift.
That is the gift.
That's the gift.
That's the reward.
That is.
It's never going to be a financial reward.
It's never going to be a financial reward.
I mean, the financial reward is part of that, something that comes, but that's never going to be the fulfillment that I feel.
It's not.
It's not.
And like, even for me, and I know we got to go, but like, I'll say this, like, even for me, I'm blessed because I get to, obviously get paid to do what I love. Because technically, it's work. It's still work. Though I love it, it's still work. It's still work. It's just like an artist who performs and sings. Like, they love it. They're passionate about it. Still work for them. They have to still perfect their craft. But, like, it's the stuff like, for an example, I had a situation with one of my mentorship groups, 27 kids. I'm one person. And they were teasing one of my kids, and I shut that classroom down. I don't play when it comes to my kids, y'all. My name is Brenda. A little bit of Dewana came out. That's my middle name. But, like, my kid texted me that night, and he said, Miss Brenda, like, I love you, and you don't have to be who you are to me, but you are, and I appreciate you, and I never had nobody stand up for me the way that you did, and you did it with love. And he seen that.
Yeah.
And because he seen that, and that is the reason why I did it, it was, what's the word I'm looking for? It was confirmation for me. Yeah. Those moments are confirmation. Those are the moments. Then right after that, I look on Facebook and I have a young lady who, I did a college tour in 2019 for 40 students, tagged me. She's on the dean's list. And she chose a college that she toured on my college tour. And she said, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Those
are the moments.
Yeah. And I'm getting chills because I went through some things to get in the spaces that I'm in. But that's why I do what I do, because I'm impacting these kids and I'm being to these kids who I wish someone was to me. So, yeah.
I love that. Yeah. So tell the people where to find you. Because I got to show them some of the stuff you brought me today. Because I purchased from Be Inspired.
Be Inspired, y'all.
I got my shirt on. Now, hopefully I can get this open. Because all her stuff be so cute.
Oh, thank you, honey.
Listen, y'all see this? I got a shirt in here and some socks. But tell them while they looking at my cute stuff that I got. Tell them where they can find you and your website and all that good stuff.
So you can find me on Instagram at MSWECARE. That's Miss We Care. You can go online. You can purchase some of your Be Inspired gear. What you wear is not just for you. It's also to inspire and empower everyone you come in contact with. And that is what Be Inspired is all about. You're going to get a message. You could dress it up. You could be cute with it. That's BeInspiredCollections.com. And also, I have my own website. It got to be cleaned up some, but if you just just want to learn any information about all things Brenda Phillips, it's bphillips.info. And you could just Google that. And I follow everybody back because I ain't Hollywood like that, but I follow everybody back. Long as you ain't posting like guns and stuff like that and shooting. And everything has a message. Like even the sweatsuit I have on today is Be Inspired on the front, but on the back.
Can we show the back real quick while we get out of here? Yeah. It says, be the reason why someone else doesn't give up.
Be the reason why someone else doesn't give up, y'all. Yeah. So, you never know who's watching.
I know. And I love you.
I love you.
We'll see y'all next week.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.